Hey, this is Steve Corona with day 2 of the Productivity Playbook. Today we're going to take a few minutes, really quick video, and talk about perfectionism. What I find really interesting is that most people that identify as chronic procrastinators, which by the way is a lot of fucking people. Most everyone is a procrastinator. Sometimes it feels like it's just you. You're the only one that's not getting anything done and everyone else is so uber productive. But in reality, most people fucking procrastinate like crazy. You've just kind of come to terms with the realization that you want something more than that you want to be better. But what I find really interesting about procrastinators is that they almost always identify as a perfectionist. That's very interesting. Why? What's that link there? So let me give you a quick story. When I was 17 or 18, I was trying to get my first job. I was interviewing at Target. And so I went into the interview and I sat down, and one of the questions that they asked me, they said, "Steve, what's your biggest weakness?" Now, I really wanted to get the job. There was a lot of pressure on me from my parents that I had to get this job, so I really didn't want to fuck it up. So I'm thinking, what's a weakness that I can say that's not really a weakness that will make me look good? So I said, oh, you know what? My biggest weakness is that I'm a perfectionist. I just love to get things done perfectly and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. But at the time I thought, well, that's a good answer because it's not really a weakness. It's like a humble brag. It's like a weakness that actually makes you look good. But in reality, now that I look back on it, I realize that calling someone or yourself a perfectionist is like a horrible insult, because what you're really saying when you break it down, when you think about it, when you say you're a perfectionist, you're really saying, I'm mentally paralyzed. I procrastinate like crazy and never get shit done. It takes me at least 25 minutes to do something that should only take 5. And when I do it, because I'm a perfectionist, I'll fuck it up and probably won't go back and fix it because I already did it and it should be perfect the first time. And if it's not, well, that's just not in my reality. So I stopped using, after I had that thought, I stopped using the word perfectionism because it's not like a compliment. It's an insult when you think about it. So here's the thing. Why do we identify as perfectionists? I think the reason is because procrastinators are really horrible at starting things, okay? They're really horrible at, they think they have a project that they need to do, or they have some big task that they want to get done, probably something that will give them a lot of success or make them more money or be something really beneficial to them. They spend a lot of time researching it, thinking about it, thinking and planning and coming up with the best way to do it. The thing is, and this is something I've realized over time, that projects where you think and plan and spend all this time researching and try to make it really perfect that first time, they never get started. They just never get started. And the fact is, it's impossible to have something be perfect the first time. So a really good quote by Vincent van Gogh goes something along the lines of, when you see a blank canvas, just splatter some paint on it like you're an imbecile. And the idea is that, a beautiful masterpiece of a painting is made with thousands of tiny little mistakes, and they turn into something beautiful. So it's not the mistakes they're not bad. Mistakes aren't bad, but they really paralyze you when you're a procrastinator. The idea of making that first mistake is so paralyzing that you never actually start. This is a huge problem, right? Because to create something that's successful, you need to start it first. And then you can worry about finishing it. But you need to start it. And so you just need to do something that gets you started, that you can iterate on and get better at. You don't need it to be the first time you do it. All right? So here's 2 tactics that I want to share. Oh, and by the way, one thing that I want to add is that a lot of people that maybe aren't as realistic with their procrastination, they will say, hey, why are you being so lazy? Hey, you need some more willpower to get that done. Hey, you're just not working hard enough or trying hard enough. And for someone like me that's, used to really struggle with procrastination, it feels really bad when people say that. But here's the thing. It's not about being lazy. It's not about willpower. And it's not about, not caring about the project. In fact, it's the opposite. People that are stuck in those paralysis of procrastination are really passionate and really care about what they're working on. In fact, they care about it so much. They are so afraid to make the first mistake because they want it so badly to be perfect that they never start. It's not about being lazy, okay? I think that's really important. It's something that if you are in a bad place or you're just not, you haven't done a lot of research on procrastination or understanding productivity, you can feel really bad about yourself because you think that you don't have the willpower, that you're being lazy, when in reality, you're not. So here are 2 tactics. These 2 tactics you can use to start any project. Most importantly, you should be using these to start one of your high value projects, the one that will give you the most leverage in your life, the one that will bring you the most success or have the most benefits. Okay, so maybe if you have some time today, take a block of even just 30 minutes and start something. And this is how you're gonna do it. First of all, I want you to take an item you have to do. For example, for me, I need to finish a blog post tonight. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take just 5 minutes. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna say, okay, I wanna write this blog post. Let me decide and write down and put into words what success looks like for that blog post. What does success look like? Well, it probably looks like writing the entire blog post, proofreading it, and then hitting the publish button. And then I'm done. That item is done. The thing is, unless you sit down and you decide exactly what success looks like, you'll never finish it. Because if you're a really, kind of guy that procrastinates a lot, kind of girl or guy that procrastinates a lot, it's an equal disease, equal playing field here. If you're that kind of person, you're gonna keep, as you get started, you're gonna keep adding things to that end result. What does success look like? Because you haven't defined it. So at first it might just be writing the blog post, but then it might be, editing it too, and then it might be publishing it, and then it might be sending out to your email list. Unless you specify exactly what the sort of conditions are for finishing that item, you'll really have a hard time actually finishing it because you'll just continuously snowball new things into it. So spend a few minutes picking one high value item and deciding, what does success look like? What are the conditions for this item to be done, to be completed, for me to cross off? Should only be a couple things, but once you figure that out, now you can get started. Now you know what success looks like, and there's that, you remove that fear of the unknown. You've thrown some paint on the canvas and you can get started. Now you have less of you're less scared of making that first mistake. The other tactic that I want to share with you is really simple. It's stupidly simple, but I swear it's effective. It's going to cost you about 10 bucks, but it is a really good investment. Okay, go on Amazon and search for timer. Okay, this is like just like a kitchen timer, except this one's a little bit more pretty. You flip it over and it just starts timing, right? So I just put 10 minutes on the clock. So get one of these, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your timer, you're gonna flip it over and start the clock for 10 minutes. And during that 10-minute period, you're going to start one thing on your high value list. Now, here's the thing. You're not allowed to do any research. You're not allowed to Google and look up best practices. The only Googling that's allowed is things that are gonna get you started and get you moving in the direction. So if an item on your list is write 3 pages for my next book, you're gonna open up your text editor and you're gonna start actually writing words. When the alarm goes off after 10 minutes, you're done. You could finish it, you could say, this is great, go back to surfing Facebook, or you can keep working on it. The idea is, once you spend just 10 minutes working on something, you might want to work on it more. You've started painting the canvas, and now you're not afraid to make mistakes. Now you're ready to get going, and you lose that paralysis that was blocking you from getting started. So those are my 2 tactics for today. It's, just spend 5 minutes figuring out what success looks like, and then spend 10 minutes actually starting something in an actionable way. So that's all for day 2. This video is a little bit longer, but I think you might get a little more out of it. Tomorrow's day 3, and I have some really exciting stuff planned for that, so stick by and stay tuned. Have a good day. Bye.